Start right here, front left with James.
Jeff, when you're the green dot of this defense and it's a top 15 unit, a lot of guys performing very well, including yourself, and there's no first team all conference players from the coaches in this league, how does that sit with you? Does that bother you? Does that motivate you in any way?
Yeah, that for sure, bothered me a lot, right when I first saw it. But, that's all external factors, people that, don't see the grind that we put in every day, the grind that all my guys put in every day, right? And then, so I truly feel like, that's not really what really like describes us, right? So we can kind of look at it and we can be motivated by it, right? But that doesn't describe our defense. That doesn't describe my guys, and I know it doesn't describe me as well. So yeah, no, for sure took that to heart at first, but then it's like, okay, move on to the next, right? I just got to keep proving myself, and I know that my guys have the same mentality as well.
Middle left, John.
You guys played quite a bit of the season as the number one ranked team in the country and ended the season as the only undefeated. As the season has gone on, is that added pressure to be the number one team in the country week to week?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say it adds pressure. We always like to play like we always have a target on our backs, right? So we always got to treat every week like it's a championship week, right? And we know that we're gonna get every team's best shot. We know we're gonna get their best game plan, and we know they're gonna get their best shot, right? So going out there every week, we know that we got to prepare as if it's going to be for a championship game or a championship type of mentality, right? So I always like to see being ranked number one really doesn't matter, right? We're not too focused on looking at rankings or polls or how other people view us, right? It's all about the people in this room and the people in this facility and the work that we put in every day. So yeah, we're not too focused on external factors.
Back left, Matt.
Jeff, we always hear yourself or coaches talk about getting better every week, striving to find improvements. Where has this team improved since you last played Ohio State in mid-October, you feel like? Your defense.
Defensively?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we've tremendously improved in all factors. I think every category that we've improved on. I don't know the numbers statistically right now off the top of my head, but I think that, just looking at our film week to week, guys are, getting to the quarterback more, creating more havoc in the backfield with, TFLs or whether that's batted balls at the D-line position, right? And I know that in the back end, we're playing, tremendous football right now, right? And that's got to keep striving throughout. We go up, these last couple of games here, right? So I know that, like I said, the numbers off my head right now, but I know that we've been, trending in the right direction, I could say. So,
Back middle, Brett.
Jeff, Bryce talked about kind of your guys' relationship on the field, off the field a little bit, and how certain moments during this season you've really come in and stepped up, obviously, to kind of help calm the team down during the biggest moments. How do you feel like your position as a leader on this defense has really developed throughout this season, and how important do you feel like it's going to be for you to be there as that leader come next week in the Rose Bowl?
Yeah, I feel like I've grown just as a leader throughout week to week. Just being more vocal and like you mentioned or like Bryce mentioned, when those tough times do come up in the game where defense may not be playing the greatest or offense isn't playing the greatest. Not only being able to go and talk to my defensive guys on the sideline, but then also get the voice and have an input and a voice on the offensive sideline as well, right? Bringing guys up at the end of the third, going into the fourth, right? Just telling them that we got to finish, right? And then talking to guys in the halftime locker room, just keeping guys motivated. And I think that's something that I've been challenging myself to improve on every week, right? So I just got to keep getting better, and I feel like there's so many more places where I can improve as a leader, even more, being more vocal to a point where, guys are kind of getting annoyed of me, talking in practice or, making sure I'm checking in with guys, but, just keep trending in the right direction.
Back right, Aaron.
How beneficial was it to kind of have that first round bye so you could take some time after that Big Ten championship game to self-scout? And how motivated is this team to kind of prove that you guys can perform a little bit better than you did, especially on the defensive side in that Big Ten championship game?
Yeah, I think having the bye really benefited us a lot. Just getting our bodies back. Getting a little break from football. Mentally and physically, right? So having some time to just sit back and look at the film, look at the self scout. Look at from the last time that we played these guys, and then from week one to where we've grown, and seeing where we can improve on as a defense and as a team as well. On special teams. So I think that was really crucial to us. And then. Just about I think that having the bye and giving us more time to work on the simple fundamental things as a defense. Looking at, like I said, looking at the self scout. Compared to the getting ready to play Ohio or Tennessee before they played, and then post game, figuring out who we're gonna play. It's like, okay, now we can dive in and use the stuff that we used on the bye week to apply that to game week and game prep. So.
Front left, James.
We saw Kingston in a pretty significant role there in the Penn State game matchup with Warren. What did you see from him, and looking back at it, and how confident are you if you guys call upon him against either Scott or Tate over the middle in a similar role in this game?
Yeah, I'm very confident in Kingston. A young guy, who has a lot of length, and I know that he's a guy who's he's focused in meetings. A guy that's here, and he's been getting better week to week, right? And I think that I got a lot of respect for Kingston. The things that he does, on and off the field, just the type of person that he is. I think that coaches were starting to realize that he could help our defense tremendously. And we always like to say that there's always going to be somebody going in throughout a long season, who their role may have not mattered, early in the season, but then going into late in the season, their role might be trending higher, right? So I think Kingston is a great visual representation of that, and with him being matched up on a great tight end like Warren, Penn State tight end, the confidence that we have in him, is through the roof. So I got a lot of belief in him.
Second row left, Eric.
Mateo's growth this year is pretty obvious and apparent from what we saw last year. What has that done for your guys' defense? Just the steps he's taken. What has that unlocked or opened up for you guys?
I think that's unlocked a lot. A guy who can also drop in coverage, but then a guy who's also good with the ball in his hands and can make game-changing plays, like you guys seen at the Wisconsin game. And then a guy who creates a lot of havoc in the backfield and who's an issue for offensive linemen, right? So always having guys like that on the edge, like Mateo, Birch, and Tatum. I think those are guys that you want on your team, and guys that who know the playbook, and guys who communicate on the front line, right? It's really rare for to have edges that communicate just as much as they do, right? So I think it's very crucial, and I'm so grateful to have Mateo.
Front left, Zach.
Because obviously you didn't have Birch last time you played these guys. How we know what he can bring as far as execution on the field, but how much has he brought to you guys as far as preparation for this game goes?
Yeah, he's brought a lot. Just having him back into the game plan. I know that he's fired up to play these guys. Just like you said, he wasn't with us for the first time seeing these guys, so I know that he's going to be fired up. And then, getting him back into the groove, to the game plan. He was there for the mental preparation last time, but now he's physically, getting ready for these guys. So I know that he's fired up, and I know that he's excited to let it roll.
Middle left, John.
Kind of a two-parter here. One, did you watch Ohio State Tennessee live when the game was going on? And two, were you surprised Ohio State jumped out to such a big lead early in that game?
Yeah, I was watching it live. I was watching it live with a couple of buddies, a couple of guys on the team, and then Ohio State playing at home. I know that that was going to be their last home game, right? So I knew that they were going to come out on fire. So I'm not surprised with how electric they were on offense and defense, right? And then I wasn't surprised at all, but excited for this opportunity.
Back left, Matt.
I know the first couple weeks of the season you dealt with some injuries that impacted how much you could play, but you haven't had to play every down like you had to previously. How has that helped you, and how has this helped this defense? Because you're playing well, and the defense is also playing well, despite you not having to play as much.
Yeah, I think that just goes to the coach's plan, just keeping me fresh, and that means that we're having a lot of guys that can play valuable snaps for us, right? So you can't look at that as a negative that I'm not playing as much as like I used to. I'm still playing good snaps, but then we're still playing elite defense, right? So it means that other guys are developing, which is a good thing, and then that also means that guys are starting to learn. The defense guys are starting to gain more trust and belief in one another, and that means we're headed in the right direction, right? We always talk about power unit. Coach Lupoy always likes to talk about a power unit in our defensive meetings. So that's where it shows up right there, and then that also goes into the trust and belief that I have in my teammates as well, for them to go out there and do their job at a high level.
Back middle, Brett.
Jeff, it's not often that we get to see the same teams face off against each other multiple times in a season. You had that experience last year against Washington. Now you have this year and against Ohio State. Is it easier in situations when you get to face a team a second time? Is it harder? Is it the same? Just what's your experience with that?
Could you repeat that? Sorry, the end.
Sorry, obviously there's not often that teams get to face the same team multiple times in a season. When that happens, from your experience, is it easier? Is it harder? Is it about the same? Just what's it like in that type of a situation?
Yeah, I would say it's about the same, because right, playing the team the first time, you have the game plan, right? But then seeing them again, you have the game plan again, and it's like, okay, how much better can we make the last game plan, right? To make it not as much as a close game, or to not miss this many opportunities, or let's fix these corrections from the last game, right? So I think it makes it the same, but then also makes it even better, because now you have time to actually go look at what you did wrong from the previous game, and then apply that to the game that you're about to play.
We're going to go to the Zoom. Ryan Clark, if you can unmute yourself.
Hey, Jeff. Just throughout your college career, who have you learned from? Who are the people you have learned from about what it means to be a leader in this type of space? And what are maybe some of the biggest things that have stuck with you?
Yeah. Early on in my freshman year, I would have to say guys like Kayvon Thibodeau, guys like Verone McKinley, just learning from those guys, and how much they use their voice to impact others, and guys like Noah Sewell, a guy that I played next to for a couple of years, just people that I feel like really took me under their wing and really applied that. Showing from their work, their leadership really showed up from their work, and it really didn't show up from just them talking every day, going out there, hooing and hollering, right? It really showed up from how they show up to the facility, how they carry themselves on and off the field, and that other people are going to follow. So those are a lot of people that impacted me my freshman year.
Last question will be Scott Reed. Scott, if you can unmute yourself.
Thank you. Hey, Jeff, Tosh talked earlier about the importance of playing against guys like Tez Johnson, Evan Stewart, Trayshawn Holden, elite receivers and elite playmakers, and helping prepare. Talk a little bit about how going against a guy like Jordan James, who's similarly built to Travion Henderson, helps you get ready for that rushing attack from Ohio State.
Yeah, going up against those guys in practice every day is like, you're getting the best look in practice every day. So it makes the game, even easier, right? So, a guy, like you mentioned, going up against a guy like Jordan James every day, who's very familiar to Travion. I think that two very similar backs, break a lot of tackles and run their feet through contact, right? So going up against Jordan every day with whether that's matching him on routes or just getting a thud up on him, right? Making tackles on him as well. I think that's going to prepare me for the game tremendously, right? I'm getting the best look at practice, so it's not going to be nothing new to me.
Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate your time.
Yep, thank you.